For starters, this video contains spoilers for Stranger Things Season 3. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. So if you don't want it to be spoiled for you, go watch it, then come back to this video. The show starts with the Russians opening the gate, which I thought was very interesting because back in Season 2, Dr. Owen states, "Imagine for a moment a foreign state, say the Soviets. They heard about our mistake. Do you think they would even consider that a mistake? What if they tried to replicate that? The more attention we draw to ourselves, the more people like the Hollands, who know the truth, the more likely that scenario becomes." He was talking about the gate that the Russians opened, and I thought that this was amazing. It was a great example of foreshadowment that I didn't even notice until rewatching the season after seeing Season 3. I also enjoyed a lot of the humor within the season. I'm glad that the Duffer Brothers slipped in some comedy into a dark and gloomy show. One of the better moments comes from one of the trailers, which is when the party scares Dustin and he freaks out and pepper sprays Lucas. The next thing that I liked about Season 3 is the change in Hopper at the beginning of the season. He's shown as being agitated and hostile, and while this might seem odd, I say this because it demonstrates the effect of Mike and Eleven's relationship on him. Being a single parent, it can be hard managing two teenagers, especially ones that won't keep the door open 3 inches. This change in Hopper also allows for further character development, which can't be done without the help of Joyce. Joyce and Hopper getting together is one of my favorite things about the season. A lot of us have been rooting for them since the beginning. In the beginning of the season, Hopper became aware of his feelings for Joyce, but she was still heartbroken over the death of fan favorite Bob. Later in the season, she gets over him and agrees to going on a date with Hopper. However, Hopper was unfortunately killed, or so it seems, before they could go on that date. The tribute to Bob was a great decision, in my opinion. Bob was my favorite character in Season 2, and a lot of people were sad to see him go. There are several flashbacks to Bob laughing and just being happy, as well as the drawing of him as a hero. This really touched me and a lot of other fans. One of the things that I didn't like, though, was Hopper's death. And I'm not just saying that because he's one of my favorite characters. I don't know if it's just me, but I found it very predictable. I could tell his fate the moment him and Joyce started making plans. But at the same time, I'm glad that Hopper and Joyce had that heart-to-heart moment that ultimately brought them together. I still don't think Hopper is dead, but that's a theory for another video. Hopper's letter was probably my favorite thing about the season. It was amazing having Elle read the letter at the end of it, and bringing back something from previous in the season is one of my favorite things that shows do. In this case, it was very emotional at the end of the season, which I loved. But it also made me very sad because I thought for sure this was the end of the party's adventures. After seeing Eleven and Hopper's note, tears were being shed, and I thought that the show was over. Until the post-credit scene. The scene changed to a secret Russian base just before choosing an American to feed to the Demogorgon, which I also want to talk about in another video. One of the Soviets is stopped and told, "No, not the American. I feel strongly that this is Hopper." But I'll save that theory for another video. While I love this post-credit scene, I disagree with it being that. In my opinion, post-credit scenes should not be done on shows. They're very easy to miss, and I would have missed it if I wasn't warned by one of my friends. The decision to make Billy one of the main antagonists and dive further into his backstory made me love the show even more. In Season 2, Billy was more or less a side character that was really only used for creating drama with Max and fighting Steve. Watching season 2 made me curious, though. It made me curious as to why Billy was such a jerk and what his story was. All of this was answered in season 3. I'm also curious to see how Billy's sacrifice, which was such an amazing moment, will affect Max in the future. The whole Mike and Elle drama was a very interesting side story to watch while everything else was going on. It was also very interesting to see how they used it to further the plot, but I'm not so sure it was necessary. I don't know how else the Duffer Brothers could have allowed the party to discover the issue of Billy, but their drama mostly served as filler. While, I'm not complaining, at all, as it led to some amazing and interesting moments, such as when Mike tried to explain to Elle what love was. It was extremely awkward, and that is so relatable, which is what made the moment even funnier. The addition of Dustin's girlfriend was an amazing choice. It was something that I didn't even know I wanted from the show. I also like how they created a cloud of mystery as to whether or not she was actually real. I wanted to have faith that she was real, but at times I began to doubt myself. The sense of mystery made her reveal that much better. It finally answered the question if she was real or not. As for the scene of Dustin and Susie singing together, I found this hilarious and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was awkward, cheesy, and sweet, the perfect combination, and I hope to see more of Susie and Dustin's relationship within the next season. In my opinion, this was an amazing season. I'd go as far as even calling it my favorite season in the show. The Duffer Brothers have a lot to compete with in season 4. There were so many references within the season that I might talk about in another video. There are a lot of things that I didn't cover in this video as I didn't want to make it too long, but if you guys want a part 2, I'd be more than happy to make it. It just might take me some time. I had a lot of fun making this video and I worked very hard on it. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video, and check out Stranger Things on Netflix if you haven't already.